Hi, I'm Andre J, and today I'd like to talk to you about mixing and color processing in gravity waves. So I think a lot of the sort of promotional stuff I've done usually for this focuses on the delay stuff, not so much on the mixing stuff. So this one we're going to do no delays, no feedback whatsoever, and just mix two video, process two video feeds, and talk a bit about that kind of stuff because as much as it's pretty awesome to have dual delay lines, like this is a video mixer. The cool thing about this is the first exercise that's in the manual for you to work out, is mixing videos together. Like that's what the whole thing is about. It's secondarily about doing crazy feedback stuff and then being able to post-process and mix that too. Um, but let's just focus on the mixing on its own. So I've got two video sources here. One is this camera pointed at my face. This is in block 2. And block 1, I've got something I found in my parents' basement. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Quote, Cowabunga, it's the new turtle movie. It's a Golden Harvest. This is a Golden Harvest presentation, which, as far as I can tell, only ever did Hong Kong movies. I guess maybe they were breaking into the, trying to break into the Hollywood market with this. Pretty crazy. Also, I'm not keyed out. Did a little bit of different lighting just to show that I am not completely bald. I am somewhat bald. But also to give more dynamic range in this video so we can see how different blending modes work. So let's start playing this video here, and then we'll start messing around with some of the processing. All right, so first thing you might notice, so I put this is a VHS tape, this is the analog input. In order to, my default setting for analog inputs is that I want it to fill the screen. Because we have to like upscale things into HD aspect ratios for analog stuff, we have to make sure that, I personally want to make sure that it fills the screen. This might not be what everyone wants. But we can fix this kind of stuff up. I'm only going to go into block 3 and work here. So I'm going to go into block 1, go into geometry, and then just zoom this out a little bit. And yes. So this is going to be cropped because of the processing that's going on in block 1. Go back to block 1, and I zoom out a little bit, and then we can see here's the full frame. We've got, what is this? Oh, it's Hulk Hogan. And a skateboard. Wow. So we can see, we really wanted to see the full frame of this one because we can even zoom it out a little bit and kind of have it be framed like that. We'll just keep it like that so my face overlaps and it's really distracting and hard to tell what's going on. Perfect. That's what we want here. This looks like one of those classic late 80s, early 90s comedies that also has like a diamond thief or like cocaine smugglers, maybe some like racist stereotypes of Colombians or Arabic folks as villains here. Suburban Commando. Holy shit. Well, everyone stay tuned for Suburban Commando coming to a video near the movie theater near you soon. But anyway, oh yeah, perfect. We even got a P&P here. TV in the video, in the videotape. All right, let's go back to, so while I'm in block 1, we can show a couple of the really basic stuff we can do with like moving the video around. If you want to position things in a specific way, move things in X and Y direction. We can zoom way in if we really want to. There we go, 1 pixel. Zero out and center this again. We can also rotate, flip it around. Some fun things, you notice there's some stuff on the edges here. We can do different kind of tiling modes with that. So we can have things be toroidally tiled, or we can have a good old-fashioned mirror tile happening. This is probably pretty fun for a lot of folks here. If we zoom out a bit, that mirror tiling action. That's pretty good. So we'll just leave it like this ridiculousness for now. What else can we do? We can mess around with the color a little bit. Pretty minor hue alterations. We can increase or decrease the amount of saturation, bring it into some very distorted modes. That's pretty fun. A lot of times with this analog stuff, you do want to boost saturation a little bit, and you can play around with the contrast, which makes a big difference for keying later on. I usually, especially with the analog capture stuff, will do a little bit of contrast, and that's bright power mapping stuff here. We can posterize things, give stuff some really crispy levels. Let's wait until we get a little bit more video happening here to see what really is going on. In memory of Jim Henson, everybody take a moment, take a sip, reflect upon Jim Henson. Here we go. New York City. Golden Harvest production. So we can get things really, really crunchy with this posterize. I just found out, I just actually discovered very recently why it's called posterization. It's because of the printing technique that people use to make posters. It's supposed to make it look like a poster, like for, you know, you only have like a limited range of like colors to work with, and it would be kind of like, wow, everyone's just going to be munching on pizzas. That's New York City. Bet you this is like sponsored by Pizza Hut or something. We can do some kaleidoscope stuff if we want to see some psychedelic pizza munching. Within the kaleidoscope, we've got kaleidoscope slice. Has nothing to do with slices of pizza. Let's see if we can slice in a slice here. This is probably a very cheesy slice. Yeah. So kaleidoscope slices, getting some slices of pizza. And then we can blur it. Change how blurry, how does the blurring work. It's pretty, it's a pretty chunky blur. This is also to kind of help out with keying and color processing later. We can also sharpen it, and you turn up sharpen a lot, and you get like kind of an edge detect thing going on. This is pretty fun for doing really abstract things with your video. And if you don't like how dark it is, you can try to boost it back up again. Get like really strong edges. Yeah. That's just a little bit of the really basic kind of like input adjusting stuff you can do with things here. Yeah, we'll leave this up like that. This looks pretty cool. What else you can do? Oh yeah, solarize is really nice, especially for keying as well. Just to have a button for that. Or RGB invert. RGB invert is a nice alternative to the sort of channel-based invert. You can see if we do bright, saturation, and hue invert, it doesn't quite do the same thing as an RGB invert, so that's pretty good. Yeah, we'll turn this off for the moment though, and then head back over to block 3. So in block 3, we can do a couple of different, we can do post-processing on everything we did in block 1. So we can also take this thing, we already like recentered it and moved it around, and we can move it around here. We can do like another further zoom it back out, and then mirror it once again. So that's getting pretty crazy. I actually never really tried doing this one before. We can do XYZ movement around there. Rotate it even once again. We could even kaleidoscope it once more. So you can see even without doing any feedback on our video, we can get some pretty insane things happening. And also play around with aspect ratios, stretching and shearing. That'll make things very, very abstract. If we go all the way into it and, oh, there we go, get some hardcore stellation happening. If we get, and I'm not going to do that, but we could go into and start playing around with the, what do you call it, LFOs. but that'll be a little too distracting for this video, I think. Alright, so we've got this crazy nonsense happening. And now let me go up and start playing around with color EQ. So there's two modes for color EQ. Actually, I might want to reset most of this in order to see exactly what the hell we've got going on. Okay, so here's just a Ninja Turtle. And let me pull this out a little bit. Very important. Ninja Turtling. We'll keep the mirrors on. That'll be fun. So let's go into color EQ. So two modes for color EQ. The first one is HSV, and this is where we would go in and add color to each band separately. So I'm just going to go through. This is a 5-band color EQ. I'm just going up and turning up the saturation of each band, so then we can start to play around with choosing different colors for each one. I'm going to choose, let's choose this green for the dark. That seems important for turtles. Let's not choose another green here. Let's add some blue in here. Let's add some orange. See if we can get over to orange. Yeah. And then let's do some pink at the end here. And now that I have these colors selected, I can now tweak around and select the amount of saturation for each one. A little bit less saturation down here. Another fun thing you can do with this is change the brightness of each section. So we can go in and I just went to the lowest band of brightness and jacked it up. Go into the highest band of brightness and jack it down. So we've got sort of like a crispy solarized thing happening here. But yeah, fun stuff. Pretty wild stuff. Reset that, so that's color EQ HSV mode. We can also do color EQ and RGB. This is going to be a little bit more confusing and complicated, but it allows you to sort of get at more colors that you wouldn't otherwise be able to access. So within each band, we can then just like alter RGB individually. So I'm going into band 4 here, and I'm pulling out all the green. I'm going to pull out a little bit of the blue, and turn up a bit of the red so we get some of the brightness back. So you can see that's adding, let's turn that into like mauve or something. Band 5, let's pull out all of the red and a little bit of the green. Turn up a little bit of the blue, so now we have that strange little blue island in the really highly lit place. Band 3, let's bring out all of the blue and a little bit of the green and turn up the red a little bit more. Let's see, I want to get kind of a yellow-orange here, so I'm going to have to tweak things a little bit. We're going to bring down the red some more. We want some orange, bring in a little bit more blue and a little bit more green. So it's definitely a trickier thing to try to get a specific color in here, but there's just colors, strange color textures that are going to be way easier to reach if somewhat unintentionally using the RGB color processing. And you can also do if all you want to do is make things kind of darker or brighter, the simplest thing is, let me go into band 1 and I just turn everything up. So if you turn up all of RGB all the way, then you'll get a white. And we want something a little more saturated, you just kind of pull out each of the specific ones, and now we've got this really weird ass looking yellow in there. So that is some color EQ. We can also automate all of these things, and we can do even more filtering on this end of chain thing. So we can blur this up and make this look like some predator vision here. And we can also sharpen it after the blur, and that'll make some very strange kind of crispy textures happening. Get some kerneling artifacting. Yeah, these are not meant to be like the cleanest filters in the world. These are more about just like doing quick and dirty work. Let me reset that so we get those weird colors back. So you can See, we have some pretty strange colors going on. If I want to go in and start playing around with my video feed here, so I can do a little bit of color EQ. Let me just bring out, you can see I've blown out the whites here with the lighting. I just want to like go in and tweak things a little bit and bring those whites down. Doing a bit of a solarize. So now instead of blown out whites, I've got weird dark patches. Hell yeah. Just what I was looking for. Now let's go into, so we're using this final mixing key, and what I'm doing is I'm doing a negative additive mix with fold over distortion. If we turn off that fold over, you can see negative additive mix is sort of more of a subtract. The other ones we can do a linear fade. Here's a negative linear fade. Here's a positive one. See, the linear fade has sort of like removed most of the other video unless we go in and say, oh, let's do some fold over distortion. Now we're going to get some crazy colors in there. Now this is wrap distortion, and here's fold over distortion. And that, when you fold over and it's on a black on a linear fade, it's just going to make the video look kind of normal. Linear fade negative, get some distortion happening in there. Let's go in difference mode. So let me reset overflow to clamp. So you can see difference mode negative kind of looks like a bit of an additive, but not quite. Difference mode positive, here's where we're at. Let me turn on wrap. And now you can see my beard is starting to like wrap around. Getting a good wrap around beard going on here. And this is starting to look like more digital noise things, digital noise distortion, and then a fold over. Fold over distortion, as always, is a little bit smoother. Not going to have the same kind of crispy edges that a wrap distortion does, as you might expect. even when sound, and it's like the same thing with audio when you do fold over versus wrapping distortion. One is definitely going to have a lot more high frequencies. And that's the wrapping. Alright, and I believe there is wrapping in this movie at some point, but we're not going to use the audio, because that would probably trigger things. Turn this back into clamp. We can do multiplicative mix. Of course, multiplicative mix. Multiplicative mix ends up being, it's highly dependent on which order, so we can switch which order we're doing things in. And you can see that's got some different stuff going on depending on which one you start with. Switch the order back to normal one. Multiplicative mix, if you've got a lot of negative space, kind of works more like masking. You can see it's only the sort of bright parts of my video are interacting. And that's with clamp on. If we do the wraparound, start playing with multiplicative, then we're going to get even more sort of like what looks like, you know, like when you do like the sonification image processing stuff. Really sharp edges, a lot of noise, and then fold over on wrap. We're going to go through 0, and then when we go negative, that will make it a lot grungier as well. And final blend mode is dodge. Turn this back up to clamp here, and you can see dodge, which is kind of like a division mode, but not quite. Does sort of like it is somewhat inverting what the multiplicative stuff does. You can see how it affects the brights. I get blown out brights a lot. When I do it negative, I get sort of like extra dark. If we do wrap, that's where we get some extra crazy distortion here. And if we do fold over, whoa, yeah, this is pretty good. Looks like there's some kind of a junkyard scene happening, always important for an 80s or 90s action movie. Something's got to go down in a junkyard. I feel like the junkyard is not really a very common area for filming anymore. Maybe I've just been watching the wrong movies. Alright, so these are different blend modes, just normal blend modes. reset all the blending here and just do what I was doing before, which was a little bit of a negative. Just a little bit of a negative add. There we go. And I'm just a weird little spooky ghost haunting the corner of the screen. We can also do keying. Maybe we'll skip the luma keying and chroma keying stuff here, just because I'm working more on the kind of crazy mixing stuff. Actually, yeah, let's talk about matrix mixing. So I'm going to go back and make my video of my head a bit larger here. You can't see it right now, but I just did it. So matrix mixing is channel by channel. So if I turn up red in the red into red, we're going to mix the red of my video into the red channel of the other video. So if you just want to do this completely normal, do the most normal mixing possible, you just do red into red, green into green, blue into blue, and then we've just done a very normal mix. Of course, there's some distortion happening here. If we do everything, I think at 0.5, then it's a normal mix. There's still video, there's still the color processing. That's why things look weird over here, but there's nothing. This is just the same way you would do like a regular kind of linear fade. Wow, my teeth look really gross in this. Amazing. But the interesting things that happen here is when you start doing not normal mix. So let me do red into green. Let me do green into blue. Let me do blue into red. So now we've got this, I don't even know what you would call this, where we're doing like this very like abstract kind of mixing. It's matrix mixing, channel-based matrix mixing of color. We can choose what kind of mix we want to do from the same blend modes we just said, so linear fade, additive, difference, multiplicative, dodge. We can also have different distortions, so we could wrap, that's dodge, multiplicative, difference, additive, linear fade, and we can also do fold over for linear fade, additive, difference. Oh, that's really nice. I like that. Multiplicative, and dodge. So yeah, this is just a real quick and dirty look at some of the mixing and color processing stuff you can do in Gravity Waves. If you're watching this soon to when this put out, we've got Gravity Waves on sale now through the end of 2023. Check out links down below. Check out my website for more info on all that biz. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos on this kind of stuff. And as always, have fun.